Alright, Shalom, Akim, Zahai, Spirit, we in Judah, of the GMS Mississippi camp, giving all honor and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashemi, Hawashai, Bahasharon, Kakodash. I also want to give double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, Ruel. Peace and blessings, as well as health and wellness to the house of David the elect. Alright, today I want to go into a topic something that's on my spirit. And I believe I spoke on it the other day, but it's still on my spirit, man. Like, as it says in Jeremiah 17:4, that we're going to discontinue from our heritage, man. All right? And what's happening in the earth is so beautiful is that really our heritage is being returned unto us, man. Especially the bride of Yahushua, that 1/3, man, that elect. All right? The Most High is bringing our heritage back unto us, man. All right? As it says in Baruch, the 2nd chapter, around 30th verse, in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. All right, but part of us remembering ourselves is the Most High aligning us back to our culture and His way. In His way. It's like you can't see me, you know, it's still, the sun isn't out yet. But long story short, we're going to return to His way, man. All right? What is the East, the ways of the East. And you look at a lot of our people, you look at the conditions of our people in Babylon. The Most High left us in the belly of the beast. All right, we've been consumed by the West, and what happened is, as it says in the scripture, where there's no hedge, the possession is spoiled. So we've been in America with no cultural hedge. So what's the purpose of a hedge? The purpose of a hedge is to protect you. The purpose of a hedge is to protect your property, whether it's your animals, whether it's your cars. All right. The purpose of a hedge is to protect what you have. But because of our transgressions of Yahweh, we transgress His laws, the Most High dropped us off here with no hedge, because it said we were discontinued from our heritage. So now we've been consumed in the ways of the heathen, which are ultimately the so-called white man. We've been consumed and become Romans and Grecians and Babylonians and spiritual Hamites. All right? This very Canaanite way of living, this very primitive, sensual way of living. And you look at all the problems that we have, in part, is because we had no cultural hedge to protect us from the ways of Esau Edom. So unlike other countries, unlike other nations that come to America who maintain their customs, all right, we didn't have a custom to maintain. So you have certain heathen who come to America because it's a free market enterprise. They're here to make money. They get their little tax exempts, they set up a little business, but they still maintain their culture. In turn, their family structure is intact. You know, they have unity within their family. But us, because we have no cultural hedge, all right, our women have acculturated into the ways of feminism, which is really anti-man, all right, anti-family, all right. A lot of the men are homosexuals. Adultery is heavy. All right, we've been Romanized, and we have no cultural pillars to uphold us as a nation. When I say a nation, I mean the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans collectively. The reason why Gad has so many health issues, and Judah has so many health issues, Ephraim has so many health issues, because we don't have those dietary laws to hedge us from the standard American diet. All right, and furthermore, we don't understand that Mediterranean way of eating. So even if you don't eat pork, even if you don't eat seafood, well, you don't understand that our forefathers didn't eat processed food. There was no processed food. So that's important, you know? Processed sugar, you know? High fructose corn syrup. Now, is it a sin to eat that? Nah, it's not a sin, but you have to understand our way. And we all, you know, deviate and have our little vices and stuff like that, but you know, it's not healthy for us. All right. The Most High gave us a cleansing system. We fast within our culture for spiritual reasons, but we also had a way of eating. All right. And what I've learned is that processed food, you know, going back to Elder Pastor Hart speaking about it years ago, is that it clogs up your pineal gland, and ultimately what that does, that spiritually disconnects you from your power. When your temple is pure, you're more in tune with your power, man. All right? the Esau Edom put those chemicals in our diet to disconnect us from our power, make us little Frankensteins, lower our testosterone, make us like real monstrous, you know, because a lot of that food in the Jake communities, there's a correlation between the food that Jake eats and the violence. All right, so basically Esau puts potions in our food to kind of make us dark, man. All right, but furthermore, our people have been westernized. When you look at Eve and the problems that you have with Eve, is mainly a result of her being westernized. She's a Westerner. You know, the way Jake is with women, he's been westernized. All right, and that's totally contrary to the ways of the Father, man. All right, the one of the most important things when it comes to a nation is the unity between a man and a woman. And it tells you in Sirach, the 23rd chapter, that one of the things that's beautiful is a man and a woman who agrees. Well, how can you agree with a feminist? You know, how can you have a man and a woman who agrees when that woman has been cultured to disagree with the so-called black man, disagree with the so-called Puerto Rican, disagree with the so-called Native American? I disagree with that. I disagree that I should not have male friends. I disagree that I should be submissive to your way of living. All right? Because the West, in her mind, is the best. So how can she agree if y'all have two opposing belief systems or two opposing cultures? You know? Because she's all into the West. All right? So the thing that really changed is really women, because the average man is still working. He's still in his gender role, but the average woman is not, the average so-called black woman is not in her gender role. All right? She's been sensualized. All right? And deified is deified in the sense that her value comes from solely how she looks. All right? But ultimately, we've been westernized because we haven't been hedged or protected from the West through our culture, through our laws, through the Most High's laws. You know, your laws protect us from this shit, man. And inside looking outside, you look at people who have strict culture, like they're restricted, like they're oppressed. Like you look at the Amish, you know, you might look at certain Orthodox religions and be like, damn, they can't do nothing. But at the same time, they don't have the same issues that we have over here in America or in the Western way, man. All right, so a lot of the problems that we have, the curses manifested, they manifested because they manifested through this Western culture, man. And if we got kicked out of America, we have to leave America, or once this power grid goes off, our people are gonna be through. All right, if Eve and the average nigga left America and they had to just be on a plot of land, and they had to govern their own people on this plot of land, they'll be through, man. All right, and then you will understand the importance of laws and the importance of a culture. We don't understand the importance of a farmer, F-A-R-M-E-R, a farmer, someone who farms land, tills the land. It tells you that you're gonna serve your enemy and nakedness of all things, roughly paraphrasing. All right, you're gonna depend on your enemy for your survival. So one of the first rules to self-sustaining as a nation, one of the first layers is really agriculture. But our people don't even understand the importance of agriculture. We're getting our so-called food through corporations who are they're in connection with the pharmaceutical industry, and it's set up for you to get sick. Our people are all bad built and sick because they're eating sick animals, they're eating fake animals, they're eating chemicals. So you don't even understand the power of agriculture in our nation, because the first thing you have to do is feed your people. You don't understand the power of carpentry within our nature, in our nation. Woodwork, or men would take trees and through the craft of lumberjack, through the craft of woodworking, all right, they turn trees into houses. You don't understand the power of a potter. That's something you never talk about or never hear about is a potter. Like, what's so important about a potter? All right, a potter takes the clay and makes vessels, the clay from the earth, and make vessels. See, every nation at its most fundamental level, they have a system set up to nourish their people directly from the planet Earth. So these occupations that I'm naming, they utilize the earth, all right, for the sustenance of the people. Like a farmer, all right, he cultivates the land, all right, so the people within that nation can eat. A carpenter, he turns wood or trees per se into houses. A potter, he creates these drinking vessels, because in reality you have to have vessels to carry your food, store your food, because food preservation is very important when you're living off the planet Earth. All right, because in the winter time, the earth takes a break and you have to have food to carry you throughout the winter. And what do you carry it in vessels? What do you eat out of? Vessels. All right? So you have to have a potter. That's why it's mentioned in Sirach 38. All right? You have to have, like I said, a farmer, a carpenter. You have to have a blacksmith who takes the iron, because one of the principal things for the whole use of man is iron. And what's so important about iron? It's an element in the earth to where it's utilized to make tools. You need tools to till the land. A farmer needs tools to till the land. All right? You need tools to hunt. You need tools to fish. You need tools to defend your nation. You know, turn iron into a sword. Like the scriptures mention certain things like beat your plowshares, the plowshares and the swords, but it has to happen through something. It hasn't happened through the blacksmith per se. I know that's metaphysically speaking, but in a literal sense, it happens through a blacksmith. Okay? I meant to say metaphorically speaking, but it happens through a blacksmith, man. So there are certain fundamental things that have to be intact, and the other fundamental thing is the unity between a man and a woman, that family structure. Because you have to bring people into your nation, humans into your nation, through the institution of what they call here marriage. Because if you just go off your natural devices, which is you have these sexual urges and you have babies outside of these structures, then guess what? How are you gonna have a pedigree? How are you gonna know who the father is? And you see how this madness happens? All right? So that creates structure and order, and it takes vision to understand what's being discussed right here. You have to see the bigger picture, man. The Most High didn't create a nation to be individuals. You have to move as a collective for the welfare of the people. And that's the purpose of a king. Because ultimately, the leaders and the elders, they dictate the direction that the nation is going. They make sure that the laws of the Most High are being efficiently enforced, are for the welfare of the people, man. But, you know, I hope this makes sense. I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. To the next time, Shalom.